Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life, your business, your health, fitness, body and mindset from where you are right now to where it is that you want to be. And today I want to pick up on the last 2 days of episodes in a great podcast I did with Heather Joy Bassett. And they're both titled, it's episode 268 and 269, The Gates of Sexuality. We had a lot of fun. I mean, we started by talking about disempowering relationships, and then we got into sexuality and a whole range of different things. So if you haven't listened to those, go and have a listen because we had a lot of fun talking about that. But I just wanted to recap on some things because I'm not sure how solidly, so we kind of went off track a little bit. Even though it was all related, the disempowering relationships that we do have. And the biggest relationship that we have in our life is the relationship that we have with ourselves. And often I find that we can have such negative self-talk to ourselves that it does completely disempower us. It does immobilize us. It stops us from achieving the things that we want to achieve. And that voice inside us that can come so strongly and be so devastating to us is created from our values and belief system. And you may have heard me talk about this previously in one of the Mental Toughness and Body Show topics, but it's such an important one. If you can master the way that you communicate with yourself, then you are a person in control. You will be unstoppable. The trouble is that most people don't find a good way to communicate with themselves in an empowering way, and they put on these constant limitations, these negativity in which we doubt ourselves, and the fears that we have become even bigger and bigger because of the stories that we make up for ourselves. And that's not good. That stops us from achieving what we know we can truly achieve. But we stop because that voice inside us says, no, don't do that. And why does that happen? It's because of our past experiences. It's because of your values and beliefs. Maybe somebody in your life said, no, you can't do that. But imagine if you said, yes, I can do that. And yes, I will do that, despite all of those other things that have happened. Imagine what you could achieve. Imagine what you could accomplish. Imagine who you could become. And it's never too late. It's really not. I mean, I didn't really start to harness this for myself until I was probably 40 years old. 40. And it's something that I wished I grasped 20 years earlier. But I didn't. Why? That was just my life's journey. I wasn't in that right place at that time to be open to changing myself so much. I just figured that you just went through life and you did these things, but I don't know, I guess I felt that your career just evolved, you just evolved, you've got into a relationship that evolved, that developed, your children grew up, you moved into another phase of your life and everything was just, fine and dandy. But unfortunately, that's not what really happens. And we're missing a huge opportunity if we don't empower ourselves to be better communicators with ourselves and giving ourselves that sense of how do I grow every single day, because I don't want to be left standing still here. I want to keep moving. I want to keep developing. I want to seek out opportunities. I want to find greatness in my life where I currently don't have it. I want to be able to clearly define success for me and raise it to a standard that I never thought was possible and actually go for it and achieve it. So many times we just give up, we settle, we have this mediocre finish in our life when we could have become so much more. And I think that voice inside us disempowers us to become the greater version of ourselves. And that's what I don't want us to do. I want us to become the absolute best versions of ourselves, because that is what truly counts. I think once you master that communication inside you, that's when it becomes really way more possible for you to handle any disempowering relationships that come along that aren't you. People that come into your life that you feel are disempowering and immobilizing you because there's this almost dumping of monkeys from their back onto yours, and it becomes really challenging for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Now, that's not to say that you don't have an understanding of what people are doing, especially in those intimate relationships that you have that we were talking about with Heather in the last few days. But I think once you have a better communication within yourself, you are more equipped to be able to handle anything that comes your way. What I see happen a lot is people don't have a clear understanding of what it is that they want, who they are, what's important to them, have a really positive, uplifting, empowering communication set of values to themselves. So then when somebody else comes along and they do throw some of their disempowering monkeys onto your back, then that just throws you into a complete tailspin, because not only do you now not know how to handle yours, you don't know how to handle someone else's. And certainly in a loving situation, we tend to drop our own stuff, look after somebody else's stuff, and then we lose ourselves and what our mission is in that whole process. And it's a constant juggling match. It's one of life's conundrums. How do we be there for our loved ones as much as we want to, but we still are able to achieve the things that are really important for us, that really fulfill us? And it's almost like we need to have a very clear descriptor of what success looks like for us across various facets of our life, so that we can get, I guess, almost like a traffic light system that comes into our mind when we aren't moving those things in the right direction. And we're never going to get it right all the time. But if we can get it right most of the time, then that's when we move forward, that's when we're growing. That's when we know that we are on that pathway to success, or we are already succeeding, but we want further success. It's a lifelong challenge, I feel, and certainly for myself, because I'm learning every single day. And any of you that have children will know that, well, each day is different. And each day can be challenging. It can be rewarding as well. And they can be challenging in different ways. But I think if you just stay in the same place, if you just stay the same, then you're missing an opportunity to grow you, to get the most out of you, and to also help nurture those people around you. And I know from my perspective, I'm always learning, how do I become better? And there are days when I think, man, I didn't handle that very well. I just didn't do as well as I wanted to in that space. I wasn't successful today in terms of achieving the things that I wanted to. I wasn't successful in maybe some of the discussions that I had with my children, with clients, with acquaintances. Whatever. Maybe I've just let myself down there. Maybe I've let other people down. And I think because I do have a high standard for myself, I do demand a lot from myself, and I do analyze a lot. That's the analytical left side brain thinking of me, that I plan things, I analyze things. I do that a lot, and that means that I really need to have a clear set of values and beliefs, a really strong idea of what success looks like for me, and I need to have those success strategies for me laid out every single day, so that I know what I'm working towards. Because I'm a planner, and I feel if I don't do those things, then I've let myself down today. I haven't achieved those things that I really want to achieve today. And I'm sure you know that place yourself, when you are in the zone, everything is working, you know all the answers, you're working very efficiently, you're achieving success, and everything just feels good. Your health is good, your body's good, relationships are good, everything is just working. But it's not like that all the time. But if you can harness those things and really understand what puts you into that frame of mind, then if we can operate in that place for most of the time, then that's when we're going to achieve most of our success. So I thought it was really important to just recap on some of these things, because you may have missed them over episode 268 and 269. But I find that it's one of the things that I have gotten better at mastering, how I communicate with myself, and it helps me understand other people better. And it also helps me understand what are those things that I'm going to take on, versus sometimes when people throw the monkeys on your back, or you think they're doing that, they're not actually doing that. They're just talking. And they're not looking for you to solve their problem. And certainly as a man, what we want to do as a generalization is we want to solve problems. We feel like that's what we were put here to do. And particularly when it comes to our intimate partners and women, we feel like, well, if there's a problem, we're there to solve it because that's our job. But most of the time, women don't want that. And women are very capable to solve their own problems. They don't need us to solve their problems. And a lot of the time, they just want to talk about it. And you just listen. And that can be a real challenge, because I know in my stupid man thinking, I just want to jump in there and solve the problem. And there's a great video out there on YouTube called Nail in the Head. Just Google Nail in the Head and you'll see the video. It goes for a couple of minutes and it'll make you laugh. It's a funny one, but it's a perfect example of how men think about things and how women think about things. And I have to stop myself and just think about listening and empathizing and not providing a solution sometimes, because we want to provide the solution, don't understand why the person hasn't implemented the solution and why they just want to keep talking about it, when you can say, well, just do this and you'll fix it. That's not what they want, and they don't need us to fix things. And once you start to understand those things, then I think your life also starts to change in how you manage yourself and manage relationships. But you just have to think we're not always there to provide a solution. And certainly in the roles that I've had, oh, pardon me, that was a bit of a yawn. And the coaching role that I have now, people come to me for solutions. So in other areas of my life, it's hard not to provide a solution. And so even when it comes to my kids, I try to be conscious of not just jumping to solution mode and encouraging the kids to think about their own issues so that they can resolve their own problems, because we're not always going to be there, and we're not meant to just resolve people's problems. We're supposed to empower people so that they can get the growth and they can become stronger. Because if you just go around solving everybody's problems, that's the growth for you. It doesn't help the other person necessarily change. And I think if we can empower people around us to problem solve, be resilient, and solve the problems, then yes, to some extent that makes us redundant. But I think if we can become redundant and we're helping people get what they want to get out of their life and be happy and successful, then you've been successful as well. It just may be by a slightly different path to what you thought. So, bottom line in all this is life is really beautiful. And I think the human experience that you have with yourself is also really beautiful. And many of us don't spend the time with ourselves to understand how we can do life better, how we can communicate better with ourselves, and how we can really master that. Because until you master that, you are unlikely to master the communication aspects with everybody else around you. So if you want to connect with me, you can do so by going to the mentaltoughnessandbodyshow.com, opt in for a free consultation there, and let's connect. Let's make 2021 your best year yet. See you tomorrow.